especially where we are now, the amount of information that's out there it's pretty transparent. So like you don't have a choice but to share information with your client, and they're going to ask you anyway. So trying to make sure that you're facilitating that information, but in a way where it's engaging and meant to strengthen the relationship.
What's going on, everybody? It's George here from NVISION, and I am here with a real special guest today, a guy I met in person not too long ago. Invited me to hang out with him and a couple of his close colleagues. My guest today is Joe Kindness from AgencyAnalytics. And although we just met recently in person, I've been a big proponent of his platform, something he's worked hard and his company's worked hard to build, that allows organizations like mine to track our data for our clients. So I thank you for being on the show today, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, George. I'm actually really excited to do this, especially in person. Last time I did it was virtual, so It's great to be face to face.
Yeah, well, I try to only do these things in person. I think you just get a wicked conversation going. So I appreciate it. And I'm going to start off. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and AgencyAnalytics?
Yeah, so I'll give you a quick breakdown here. It goes back 15 years ago. So 2010, we started the company. Actually, the company was called My SEO Tool back then. I'm not sure if any listeners can remember that, but comment if you do, because that's really nice when I hear like a really old customer say, yeah, I remember that. So yeah, we were myseotool.com. And funny enough, the really only reason we had that name is because back then the URL mattered. So SEO Tool ranked number 1 on Google. Mm-hmm. So we had no real great marketing chops, and everybody came through that search term. So that was the thing that really struck gold for us at the beginning. And way back then, we were just like an SEO tool, hit a button and it told you all these things of to do for your website to improve your search engine positioning. And then over the years, we kind of grew an audience. We learned that agencies were coming to us, and specifically for reporting. Mm-hmm. And we pivoted the company to AgencyAnalytics and, started specializing in automated reporting. And, really built a great solution that we grew to 7,000 agency customers today. And we're really proud of the place we've gotten in the market. We are amongst the leaders, if not the leaders, for automated reporting for marketing agencies, and have really enjoyed the community that we've built and meeting folks like you and your company. It's really inspiring to see all the impact that we've made and the agencies we worked with made on ultimately those small businesses, because that's our mission, is really to help small businesses through marketing agencies.
Yeah, it's tremendous. And I speak highly of your platform. And so I know that you originally, before we get deep into the agency analytics side, which we're going to dive into, I know you originally built your first software company when you were in high school. So there's some parallels between you and I, because I coded a lot when I was young, started building like my own little custom tools. But then you sold it in university, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I'd love to know like what that experience taught you about entrepreneurship at such a young age. And did that kind of evolve into where you are today?
I mean, absolutely. Like that, the foundation and the things I learned way back then gave me an early start. And, I was a kid hacking away, and whatever, I got response from, I just went with it. So I built this business called Done Right Scripts. It was CGI scripts using the Perl language back then. And, people would buy the software, put it on their website, and that was basically the end of the transaction. So it was really great. It taught me a lot. Nobody really knew what I was doing. My parents, I remember, they thought I was just fooling around on the computer. They made me go out and bale hay at the neighbor's farm because they thought I was wasting time.
Wasting your life away on a computer, right?
Well, then I showed them a check one day, and they're like, "Wait a second, how did you get that?" Right? And so I built it, and then university, I sold the company. And, put that money into some real estate, paid for university, and it was definitely the starting that I needed to get to where I am today.
Amazing. And now you've scaled, obviously, AgencyAnalytics to 27 mil in ARR, which is incredible. You've got 150 team members, many of which I met at your big annual event, which was super great. What has allowed you to scale to that level of sustainability? Like, you've bootstrapped a lot of this, correct?
Yeah, we're still bootstrapped to this day. We haven't taken any funding. Started with 2 guys at the kitchen table where we didn't have much expense because we coded everything ourselves.
Yep.
And then 10 years went by of us slowly growing it. And we probably, 10 years went by and we still had less than 10 people at the company.
Yeah.
And so by kind of going a little conservative, we got a lot of money in the bank and we built a lot of foundations on that product. So we had a really deep value that we had that we could now bring to market and put money into marketing. So it was in 2020, right before sort of pandemic and things like that, where we started to really spend our money and scale up. And we just added people even to this day. Like, we haven't stopped adding people. And I think just, that bootstrapped sort of like caring about profit and making sure you had cash reserves, like it allowed us to actually focus on growth rather than what a lot of people would think, oh, you're a lifestyle business and you can't go anywhere. We actually didn't need funding because we spent so long building that foundation. And now we're still doing that today, really. And
what's that transition like when you're going from, 10 people, growing this thing to like all of a sudden you're at 150, you need formalities and org charts and structure. Like, what was that like for you as a business leader and an entrepreneur? I mean, it's a wild ride. I mean, it's so literally, I can think about it in many different stages. The first stage was me being all of a sudden a recruiter. All I did was interviews. Yeah. And I'm like, what is my job here? I just do interviews. And then I invested in a people person and she helped me. And I thought, like, this is great. Like, I understand the value. So a lot of the things that I learned were things, I went down a road, kind of trial and error, kicked tires, and then discovered the better way of doing it. I've learned so many lessons, especially over the last 5 years, I could share for those that don't want to go through the rough road of learning themselves. But, definitely investing in people, like people leaders, like we have a chief people officer now, and she's been great at making sure we scale. I think when we first started scaling, it was about putting just bodies in seats. Yeah. And now we're a lot more strategic and really particular about who we hire, and then the onboarding and the culture that we try to maintain. So there's a lot that goes into all those people operations. Yeah. And so have you ever considered like raising capital? You're like, this is good. We're going to keep this in-house ourselves, keep bootstrapping, like you said. Well, it's funny because we're at that stage now where it might make sense, because when you're raising capital and say you're not profitable and you're going out with a VC and they're basically a lifeline, that's sort of what I would worry about if we went down that road and we'd lose some of our culture. So because that we still are in control of our own destiny, I think funding could make sense for the growth that we could get out of it. So we have no immediate plans, but for the first time ever, our ears are open to that idea. And it's really to make sure that we can build the company that people want to be a part of still, but also build a company where people can grow their careers. We can go to that next level and, everybody can join in that ride and get there a little quicker than if we, tried to do it ourselves. Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned people and culture a lot. And that's why I think what resonates with me about you really think about the people and having gone to your event and stuff and having some good, healthy conversation with you. I love that. That's such a big, keen area of your focus. As analytical guys that you and I are, I also know that you're a big KPI and OKR guy.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so if you were to like track one KPI as the CEO, what's the one thing that you keep a close eye on?
Oh, one thing. So it's funny. So for those that use a North Star, that's something that we've always sort of, I wouldn't say struggled with, but switched focus on a lot. So we actually just introduced a new North Star recently, and it's back to sort of like what was our old North Star really, and it's just the number of clients. Okay. So the nature of our business is that if you think about a marketing agency, what's important to them, it's their clients, sure. And they add those clients to our system. And we look at that as our North Star. Mm-hmm. So rather than just saying we just want all these agency customers, we're focused on how many clients can we help them bring into our system. Because if you're bringing more clients, it must mean that your agency is doing something right. And hopefully we're helping with that. So right now our main North Star is number of clients. But I mean, amongst other things, we're obviously thinking there's revenue metrics, there's metrics around culture, like you said. So we do an NPS score, yep. And that's really a simple thing. Like you do surveys and stuff. So it's really important that we make sure that our people are happy, mm-hmm. And you can't always measure it. Like the KPI is there. Yeah. But really what it takes is to connect with people, get down, talking to them. Like we just did the summit that you were at, yep. Having people come in person. So KPIs are great, but there's only so much you can measure. You have to be a little real sometimes, Yeah.
I think I was saying that we were talking about this briefly at the summit where, it's an endless sea of metrics, mm-hmm. Right? And like we can measure so much, yeah. In our world. And sometimes you need to like sit back and be like, what are the important ones, yeah. Right? Because you can select a million different things to track.
And that's the thing, right? Yeah. Like we're constantly teaching ourselves this lesson over and over again, yeah. And saying like too many is not a good thing. Like go try to find like, 3 that you care about, or, yeah. When you think about your teams, could you just reduce it to 1 that team cares about?
Yeah.
And it's really tricky because what happens is you say, yeah, no problem. I'll focus on 1, but then it leads to like another one and another one. And then before you know, you lose a little context because you got 20 metrics you're looking at, right? So you can definitely drown yourself in data. And so recently we've invested in our data team,
yeah.
And sort of relying on them to tell us what metrics to focus on, rather than, the past was we would just have an idea and then the data team would just have to respond to that. So they're still doing that a bit, and they're trying to balance that storm, but really leaning into their analytic ability to say, hey guys, we should look at this metric, not that metric,
yep.
And so on.
Yeah, I love it. And I love how even in your system, even in AgencyAnalytics, the customization ability of saying these are the key 3-4 data points that we need to ensure is on the dashboard. I love the simplicity of how you guys have structured your software to allow agencies to present that to our clients, right? So that they have visibility on the key things. And if they want all the other vanity metrics, they're all there. They can see all those too.
Yeah.
But these are the key ones that we're really keeping a close eye on, right?
Yep.
Which leads me to, this is a good segue to the next kind of area I want to focus on, which is the agency insights and operational lessons. So you had written a piece where you connect automated reporting to client retention. Mm-hmm. And I'd love to hear an example of how reporting, from your perspective, because you talk to a lot of agencies, mm-hmm. transforms agencies' ability to retain clients.
Yeah. Well, it's really that client relationship that we focus on. So rather than going right to a measurement of retention, we sort of think about how important it is to make sure that you're communicating with your client. Mm-hmm. And that's difficult to do because it takes time. Like you can't get on the phone every day with that client. So you need other tools to automate the process. Mm-hmm. And right now, in especially where we are now, the amount of information that's out there it's pretty transparent. So like you don't have a choice but to share information with your client, and they're going to ask you anyway. So trying to make sure that you're facilitating that information, but in a way where it's engaging and meant to strengthen the relationship. Because I think it's important to note that just because you have your hands on data, it's not as if you can just set it and forget it. It's a means to have a conversation. It's a means to have more engagement, and ultimately it would lead to retention. When that renewal is up, they're already well informed about the good and the bad.
Of course.
Because there's bad too, right? Like they need to know, like, this metric hasn't moved yet. And maybe it's actually part of the plan, because, we can't move metrics in a month. We need 3 months or whatever, right? So, but clients being informed gives them a little more patience to say, okay, yeah, you told me about this, and I've educated myself even on that, thanks to your reporting, and thanks for that, the relationship, so.
Yeah. Going back to your SEO days, a domain sometimes would be the root cause of why you were successful, right? Just the name.
Yeah.
And it's become so complex now, when we're highlighting content, for example, to our clients, and it's like, you're not going to see necessarily an increase in your overall, whatever the metric is, retention, growth, bounce rate reduction, whatever. These things take time. So providing that visibility to the client, and having that transparency to be like, here's the number. Here's what it means. Like you said, the story behind it, the rationale as to why things may be stagnant for a little bit, right?
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of sort of experiments, especially with AI now. You have to go down these roads that might not yield something either as quickly as you'd hoped or at all possibly.
Right.
And even in like brand marketing, which we're investing a bit into now, it's very hard to measure that. And there are ways though, I was actually meeting with my marketing director the other day, and I won't be able to describe it right here, but not because it's secretive, it's just because it's over my head. But she pulled out a metric and showed us an opportunity for brand marketing. And, so it's really interesting how you can look at reporting and ultimately data as a way to educate your customer, but also just to put their minds at ease, because once they're educated and informed, you have a little more room to be like, hey, this is all part of the strategy. We're not doing this overnight. And we can kind of just like, both be on the same vision of that, like patience to yield those results.
And do you find like you work with a ton, you guys work with a ton of agencies that work with a ton more clients, right? Do you see a certain pattern where agencies that thrive or plateau in their use of data and how they leverage the data to help benefit their ability to thrive?
Well, so I would say there's all sorts of agencies that we have as customers, because we'll have like freelancers who's just, a one person show.
Yep.
And then we have agencies with many employees and clients, and they're international. So we've seen every agency work many different ways. And that's one of the things that we've learned, is that every agency works different. But yeah, like I think the agencies that we sort of connect with and write about more are the ones that are focused on that growth for their client. And it's not about something quick fix. It's about how can we be a part of your business, be a partner to help your business grow. And when we do that, we're going to use metrics to, not only show what our vision is, but also to leverage our impact. Like, what are we bringing by using those metrics? Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously you're servicing our agency world, and obviously we leverage, you guys are an agency too, in my eyes. Right. And so I find that, oftentimes I see newer agencies maybe chasing that big shiny toy, that big new thing that's in the market, the big buzzword, the big, marketing initiative, versus really staying true to like growth, like using marketing and data to help make good decisions.
Yeah.
Right. Like not jump on, like the AI bandwagon or back in the, I mean, we can go back 15 years and be like the SEO bandwagon,
right?
The paid bandwagon, the backlink bandwagon.
It keeps repeating itself. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that going back 10 years, there was an ability for agencies to focus on quick results.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder now. And, those quick results don't mean as much as, getting first in Google for this term. Like, it's not the end of the story anymore, where I think I think marketing wasn't as sophisticated back then, and agencies have grown a lot in sort of what they bring to a business versus just leads. More
so like a partnership, right? Like becoming a true marketing partner or business partner for that organization to help scale and grow, right? Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of maturity in the agency world. Yeah. And, most have adapted from years ago where they can't just offer this one quick solution. And the ones that haven't, I don't think they can survive much longer on those old ways, because there's not as, the approach just doesn't work as well as it used to.
Look at us. We've grown up and matured. And now we know a couple things. I mean, I recall, the agency started almost 23 years ago as more so a web design and development agency. And then we quickly got on the Google bandwagon, right? Like, this thing is out there. You want to get ranked. And it was so easy, man. It was so easy. Stuff a couple keywords on a page, maybe get a backlink or two, which was relatively new. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're on page one and your phone's ringing. And as things have evolved, you're starting to layer your marketing now into a lot of different channels to help you capitalize on how behaviorally we are interacting online, right? Yeah. That's why I love your tool, because you have so many connection points with all of the major tools that are like that a marketer would use, and you make it very seamless to kind of see everything in one really nice unified dashboard. Yeah. And now with the addition of your AI, which I know is relatively new, and when we spoke at the summit, it was like, okay, this thing is going to start rolling out, and you guys are starting to understand how to leverage it. And for us, when we saw it at first, it was like, oh, this is kind of that shiny toy. I'm curious to see how it operates in your ecosystem, right? But it's actually providing us with some pretty interesting intelligence with our own data, which is allowing us to make some pretty good decisions. So do you see AI being a big part of AA in the next?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I feel like, I got to be careful with AI, because I want to just be clear that AI still needs to solve a problem.
For sure.
There's a lot of AI out there that just, what is it? What is this doing for me? It's cool. But so we're really focused on building an AI that means something, not just so that we can say we have AI and market it. So what you're seeing is just the start.
For sure.
We're actually releasing something very soon that is sort of V2 of that tool you're talking about. And really it starts.
You're not going to give it away, are you?
I think, I don't know. I actually don't know the answer to that question, so I shouldn't say anything or I'll get someone in trouble. But it's gonna be a great tool. It's really just about extracting information in a clear and simple way, right? Yeah. So right now we think about reporting as a way where you can get informed, but it's got to present it to you. This tool that we're working on is more of a Q&A, right? So I ask a question, it returns with information, and be very thorough about it. Like, I can ask, as long as the data is connected, I can ask any question about that data. Yeah. And that's the idea. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a lot of the AIs, right? The better the instruction, the better the response, right?
And the more data. Yeah. And that's the thing that we have as an advantage, is we have, connecting all your client's data, so it's all there in one place, as well as the ability to look at the marketing agencies as a whole. Yeah. Because we grab data from 7,000 marketing agencies, and we can do things like figure out benchmarks and industry trends and things like that.
Yeah, which is an awesome feature. Yeah, just to check out. Okay, we're gonna go into some fun stuff here. A little bit of quick rapid fire. Okay. Morning person or night owl?
Now that I have kids, morning person for sure.
Okay, same. Early morning, kids wake me up. Nothing changed. Yeah. Favorite ski destination with your boys?
So we ski in Blue Mountain at the Georgian Peaks Club, and it's just a great family facility. So although there's greater places to ski, nothing's better better than the community there. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ski? And this is kind of a sidetrack, but have you gone elsewhere? Any of the Swiss Alps or anything crazy like that?
So we're visiting Italy in February for the Olympics and gonna get some skiing in there. My boys are 3 and 8. So we're still waiting for them to grow up a bit to get onto those big hills, but Italy should be fun. Yeah. We
already talked about this, but your first app or website you ever built, was it the one you did in high school?
Yeah, that was technically no. So my co-founder today, we actually built a company before that one.
Okay.
And we got in a fight because we were high school boys. And then I started this other company that I talked to earlier.
Yeah.
And then that. So it's technically my second company, I guess.
Nice. I know we talked about this. Hybrid, remote, or fully in office? What's your productivity sweet spot?
I would say hybrid, but I mean, what's the ratio? That's the challenge there. We have a lot of folks that are outside of Toronto, so they don't even have an option to come in. But we really have enjoyed having an office space. And for the folks that can come in, or some people are just, flying in town and they come into the office. And so it's a really great chance to connect, but there's a lot of great work that happens remotely too. So the hybrid, I think, is the best model.
I agree. Absolutely. Okay. How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah. So best way is on LinkedIn. Honestly, if you connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm happy to have a chat, or even if I can help, especially any of those Canadian startups. I'm in that world a bit with some programs, and I'd always love to have the ability to share my advice if it helps, or whatever networking I can do to help you startups go to the next level.
Awesome. I would take him up on that offer. Joe is a very brilliant guy, super nice. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
To everybody who's watching this, who's from the agency world, if you haven't checked out AgencyAnalytics, I would highly encourage you to do so. It is a wonderful platform. We've been on it for many, many years. They keep adding new features and functionality to this thing. You as an agency owner, or somebody who works with an agency who needs to centralize your data and understand how to communicate to your clients, check it out, AgencyAnalytics. And I can assure you it will do some amazing things to help you tell that story to your customer. So thanks for being here, man. This was super fun.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming on with me.
Absolutely. This is great. Thanks a lot, George.
Looking forward to continuing this journey with AgencyAnalytics and yourself.
Awesome. Great.
Thanks, man.
Okay.
Cheers.
Bye.
See y'all.
Bye.
Thanks for watching this video. If you got something out of it, please like, subscribe, or share it with your friends.